Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another video. Today's video, I still don't know what I'm gonna name it, but basically if the title is not clear enough to you, in today's video I'm gonna tell you 10 things or 10 ways you can save money in 2025 in terms of staying away from shopping, staying away from things that you don't need to buy, and being more mindful about your purchases. Now, this is something I've been actively working on, I want to say, for the past 2 years. Before that, I was also someone who was a shopaholic. I used to buy stuff that was like trendy, that I wanted to try out. I never thought through my purchases, and I ended up spending way too much money that I could have rather saved. And ever since I've realized that that's a problem, and I am ending up wasting so much money that I could have rather saved, I have been doing various things like low buys, like telling myself that I have to keep some rules in place in terms of what I can buy, what I can't buy, and that way I've actually, I feel like in 2024 spent less money than I did in previous years. In terms of specifically beauty shopping, yes, but I also feel like other areas of my life, like for example if it is fashion, like clothes, shoes, bags, other things which are not necessarily beauty and makeup, I think that the rules still apply. So in today's video, that's what we're going to be talking about. Some of these things you might have already heard me talk about before, some of them might be new to you, but I still wanted to have like a consolidated list in the beginning of 2025 because I feel like this is the time of the year when we can set rules for ourselves, and hopefully we have to keep up with those. It's not like something you plan in the beginning of the year and then later on you fall off. Then I feel like there is absolutely no point of it, because unless and until you don't stick to it, you're not going to see the results and you're not going to end up saving any money. It cannot be like a new year resolution that you break within the first 2 to 3 weeks. You have to stick to it for the entire year. And let's get into it and let's get started, and I'm going to share the 10 things which I feel like would really help you if you follow it in terms of saving money and staying away from unnecessary spending and unnecessary shopping. So let's get into it. The first thing, and this is probably the most basic common sense, but I still wanted to spell it out for you: give yourself a budget. Now, depending on how much you earn, if you are someone who earns your own money and spends your own money on shopping, I think it's very important. If you are younger and you have a pocket money that you get and you spend out of that, then obviously this may or may not apply. It kind of depends. But if you're someone who earns yourself and you spend your own money, give yourself a budget. Now, this can either depend on your income. If your current income is already less, then obviously your budget would take up that much money. For me personally, I feel like I have a decent sized income. At the same time, as my income has grown over the years, obviously because you get appraisal every year, you get hikes every year, I make it a point to not increase my shopping budget by that much. I want to keep like the relatively same budget, because if you increase your spending based on how your salary is increasing, you're not going to be able to save as much money as you would want to. So for me personally, I've given myself a number in terms of budget, and this budget does not only apply to makeup and beauty. It's like a overall like, I don't want to spell out the figure really, because again it can vary from person to person, but I've given myself a number. This is how much you can spend in a month. This includes going out like with friends. If I am like we're eating out, I don't really drink, so it's majorly eating. Or even if you're going out to do any activities or stuff, it includes that. It includes if I am like at work and I'm ordering food and eating out, maybe ordering from like Zepto or stuff, or even Zomato, like as a snack. It includes of course makeup and beauty. It also includes clothes, or anything that is like miscellaneous fashion, anything. So this is my total how much I can spend in a month, including everything. So 1 month, if I go more ham in terms of beauty and makeup or like shopping, then I will make sure to not go out as much with friends or spend too much money in that specific month. And in a certain month, if I'm going out too much, or if I'm spending money on even like gifts for other people and stuff, and I'm going like basically my spending has increased because of that, then I will make sure to not do as much shopping that month and to do like minimum amount of shopping. So that way I'm sticking in my budget, and the amount that I have per month as my budget, I have to absolutely stick to that, and I cannot go out of that. Now in past months, it's not like I haven't gotten out of it, but basically the point is to stick to that budget as much as possible. it's not like a cardinal sin if you step out of it, because sometimes it's just genuine. Like if I've already spent a lot of money, but then if something comes up and I have to buy a gift for someone, it's not like I'm not going to spend that money on the gift, because it's something that you have to do, right? Like it's not something you can avoid by not taking a gift for someone, right? You can't do that. So sometimes I do end up spending more than my budget, but as much as possible I try to stick to my budget, and giving yourself a budget that you have to stick to can really help in making sure that you're not pulling out of your savings for any of those things. So if we give ourselves a spending budget, then the rest of the money can go into savings, investments, etc. Then the second tip is make sure that whatever you're buying is stuff that you actually need. Now when I say that, I mean if you run out of sunscreen, you need to repurchase another sunscreen. If you finish up your favorite serum and you need another one, then of course you have to repurchase that. But if you already have something in your collection, like for example, if I have 10 different moisturizers, I don't need to buy a new moisturizer if I already have a bunch of moisturizers in my collection. It's just as simple as that. And a lot of times we do get tempted by new launches, and we want to try out new launches when we already have other products in our collection which basically do the same thing and serve the same purpose. So it doesn't make sense to buy new stuff if you already have similar stuff in your collection. So that's what I mean by saying that if you already have a specific product that works for it, then don't buy a new one. The same thing would also apply for clothes. If you already have 5 pairs of jeans, then don't buy another pair of jeans. If you already have way too many black shirts or white shirts or way too many sweaters, then don't buy another one if you already have enough in your collection that serves the same purpose as that. Then moving on to our third point, this is something which I feel like most people, and let me know if you agree with me on that or not, but I feel like most people are tempted to shop because you're probably on like an app like Instagram, for example, where Instagram these days is literally online advertisement. That is all it has become. Earlier it was very different. It was more about like sharing pictures and like a very nice put together feed that people had. Later on it became about content creation, but now even more than content creation, what I see on Instagram is simply product ads. What I mean by that, I'm not talking about like influencers who are doing sponsored ads or sponsored collaborations. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about brands themselves just doing ads all the time and just pushing product, pushing sales. It's just like one big sale page for all brands and every brand under the sun. And I feel like when you see so much of that, automatically it makes you buy things. You might not end up buying things that, I mean, you were never going to buy it in the first place, but now you've seen it's on sale and you're tempted to buy it. Like that's all I feel like Instagram has become. And I'm sure that for other people it could be maybe that you have the Nykaa app on your phone or you have a Myntra app on your phone, and because of having that app and constantly scrolling that app and seeing okay what's new, it makes you buy things that you were not going to buy in the first place. Now I'm very good with Myntra, Ajio, Nykaa in that sense, is that even though I have the apps on my phone, I don't just randomly open them to shop and to scroll and to see what is new. I think I've gotten very good at it where it doesn't tempt me anymore. But Instagram for sure, I feel like there is so much of product pushing nowadays on there, is that sometimes I don't even feel like opening the app, to be very honest. And for me personally, at this point of time, I only use my Instagram for either catching up to see what my friends are doing and what is going on in their lives, and again, I'm not going to say friends, I'm going to say more so like acquaintances and people who I know, or I go on Instagram to see what new products have launched, because I do talk about that on my channel quite actively and quite regularly. So that is the only thing I use Instagram for anymore. But I absolutely hate scrolling because all I see is new products, this ad, this sale, that sale, and it is just way too annoying, to be very honest. So if you are someone who easily gets pulled by it and you easily end up spending money on things that you would not have spent in the first place, then uninstall it, remove it from your phone. You don't have to delete the account, you can just come back later when you feel like you're in a better place and you're not getting tempted by it anymore. But till then, just uninstall it, delete it, and if you still want to keep the account, at least unfollow all the pages, like all the brand pages, that you are following. And I still feel like if you're scrolling, you will still end up seeing like sponsored ads and stories. I think Instagram is very good at pushing that. So for me personally, I think the best thing I would suggest is to just uninstall it. But if you want to still keep it, try to stay away from that as much as possible, because that encourages a lot of unnecessary spending. Like seriously. Moving on next to our fourth point is do an inventory of your collection. Now this is something I've been doing for the past couple of years, and I want to continue to do that to see how my collection is changing over the years, but B, I think it's also very helpful to do an inventory to understand what you have way too much of on your collection and what you have just the right number. Now if I talk about in terms of like skincare, I have way too many moisturizers and I have way too many SPF body lotions as compared to what I actually use in my day-to-day life. In terms of other categories, I feel like I'm doing very well, where I have a little bit more than what I need, and that is good enough because I know that I regularly go through these products. In terms of my clothing, I would say I have way too many clothes and I don't use all the clothes that I have in my wardrobe. I have a lot of like tank tops or undershirts, which again I don't wear very often. I have a good amount of bottoms. I would say that is an area where I've stuck to like not buying too much, and I feel like that's something that also wears out eventually because I wear the same pair again and again and again every day. So that is something like once it wears out, I will repurchase and buy new ones, but I don't have a crazy amount. I also have a lot of like at-home clothes, I feel, and that's something I'm also going through actively, and like whatever is worn out, then I'll just throw it away. So that's also something I feel like I have a lot of in my wardrobe. So doing an inventory of your collection, like in terms of makeup, beauty, whatever area of life that there is. I also feel like I have way too many sling bags because that's also something I don't use as much. That's another area where I feel like I don't need to buy any, and I need to use what I have and regularly go through those and like not use the same one again and again, and like switch them out basically and use different ones that I own. So yes, doing an inventory of your collection, seeing what you really have is very, very helpful, because then you know that whatever areas you have too much of, those are areas that you need to be on like a no buy, low buy of sorts. Moving on next to our fifth point, and this is like a continuation of the earlier point, I would say, but it is still different because this is something that again you can decide for yourself how and when you can incorporate this into your life, and that is doing either a project pan or a shop my stash. Now project pan would probably be applicable to makeup and skincare. Probably shop my stash can also be applicable to those, but I would say project pan more so, because you will realize how long it takes to use up something like makeup and beauty products, for example. And shop my stash could be more even for clothing, I would say. That's what I've been doing right now, is kind of shopping my own wardrobe and seeing what I really have, and also creating new outfit combinations. That's something that I am working on right now very actively in terms of my outfits, is creating new top and bottom combos, or maybe like a shirt with an undershirt and then trousers, and doing different combinations of shirts and undershirts and creating different outfits in that sense. Is actually helping me to see what I like, see what I want to wear, what combines with what, create different outfits that way, and shop my own wardrobe instead of going out and buying more clothes. And project pan and shop my stash is something I actively do for my makeup and my skincare already, which I feel like I'm doing very well at. So I just need to keep going with those and to go through my current existing collection as best as I can. So this is something that if you're not doing already, I would highly suggest you do, and then you will actually realize that you have everything that you need and you don't need to buy more. Moving on next to our sixth point. Now this is, I think, something that's been very valuable for me in the past 1.5 to 2 years, and that is to make a wish list of things that I might want to buy, that I might be interested in, and then to wait a couple of months before I actually buy the product. Now this is very helpful in terms of makeup and beauty products for me, and I have been trying to implement the same principle to clothing and fashion pieces. Now basically what this means is, every time you're interested in a new product, have like a running list on your phone of all those products, jot them down, and then eventually come back to it after a couple of months to see that if you're still interested in it. It might so happen that maybe you're not interested in that product category anymore. It might be so that this was something you were initially very excited about, but later on the hype kind of died down and you realize it's not something that is as good. You might end up seeing bad reviews of that product later on once a lot of people have tried it out, and then you might realize, oh, this is something that I'm glad I didn't buy because I would have ended up wasting my money like other people did. There can be a lot of things that happen, but when you look back at this list of things that you wanted to buy initially, you look back at it after a couple of months and you realize that you might still want some of those things, and that means that you really love them and you really want them, and those are the things that you can go out and buy. And then other things you might realize you don't like anymore and you will literally take them out of your wish list. That is what has happened to me in terms of a lot of beauty products. Specifically, is over a course of a couple of months I realize I can probably take this out of my wish list because I don't see myself liking it or buying it anymore. And that can be really helpful to prevent impulse buying and impulse shopping, because that I feel like ends up wasting more money than you think you did, is when you impulse buy something and later on you regret it after a couple of months. So to prevent impulse buying, this one I feel like would be a great way to incorporate this and end up saving money in the long run. Moving on to our 7th point, and this is, don't buy things which don't serve you the entire year, basically. And there can be some caveats to it, so I'll specifically talk about it. Now, for me personally, the reason I got inspired to put this point in is because I love sweaters. Okay, let me just tell you that I absolutely love sweaters from the bottom of my heart. And a couple of years ago I used to buy sweaters all the time. I grew a pretty big collection, but if you know, I live in Mumbai and it doesn't really get very cold here even in the winters, and when it does, nowadays it is pretty chilly. So chilly for Mumbai, okay, not Delhi people and North Indian people, please don't come for me, but in Mumbai, for us, it is pretty chilly right now. So I've been wearing my sweaters, I've been enjoying my sweaters for, I took them out in November and I've been wearing them on and off since then whenever I feel like it gets more cooler and I would like to wear them, but I still wear my normal, spring and summer clothes still on days when it's not super duper cold. So I've realized I only get about 3 to 4 months in the year when I can wear my sweaters, and the rest of the time I just have them kept inside. So the sweaters that I have in my collection right now are ones that I've had since maybe 4 to 5 years at this point. And because clothes, if you buy good quality ones, they don't really get spoiled very quickly. And also, if you're only wearing them for a couple of months in the entire year, then they're going to last you for quite a few years, just because of durability and they don't get worn out super quickly. So if you buy good quality stuff, it's going to last you a while. And also depending on the frequency of usage and wear. So when you have excess of something in your collection that you're not using throughout the year, you just end up having too much, and it also takes up storage space. Sweaters that I don't wear throughout the entire year, I have to keep them in storage for the remaining 8 months, and that's why I feel like I can have a couple, maybe 4 or 5, but more than that it's just unnecessary. So that's the reason why I want to say that you should avoid buying seasonal items. Have a couple, enjoy them when you get the chance, but then don't have too many of those. I would also say that for beach dresses, party clothing and stuff, because that's also something that I don't wear very regularly. I don't go on beach vacations all the time as much as I would love to. At this point of time in my life, I don't do that, and I have way too many dresses, way too many beachy stuff. I want to eventually get into wearing dresses, but they have to be more everyday appropriate or office appropriate. If they are more beachy, tropical, vacation type of dresses, then I'm not going to get a chance to wear them very regularly. So what is the point of having too many of those? And I feel like at this point of time, I do have too many of those. So that's also something that I need to stop and control myself and not buy too many, because I'm not going to wear those. Another thing which kind of is a part of the same point, I didn't want to make it a separate point, and that is trendy clothing or just trendy products in general. Anything that is currently trending and very, very popular, after a couple of months, eventually the hype is going to die down. So only because it's trendy and you want to try it out, don't buy it immediately. Think about it long term. Is it something that is going to suit you all the time? Is it something that's going to be part of your daily routine permanently, or is it just something that you want to buy and try out right now because everyone else is? But is it something you're going to genuinely enjoy and it's going to become a part of your life, like integral part of your life? If not, then just skip it. Honestly, you'll be more happy in the long run if you just skip it. So avoid any kind of trendy products. And also when it comes to stuff that you don't use all the time, be more mindful about buying those things and seeing if there is like a bigger purpose for it, or is it just something you're buying specifically. I would also say one use items kind of fall into that category. Is if you're specifically buying something for a day but then you're not going to wear it after that, then think about it. Maybe you can just borrow one from a friend if they have it, or rent it out instead of actually spending money on that one product that is going to be used on one day and then not going to be used for the rest of your life basically. Okay, let's move on next to our 8th point, and this is don't buy something just because it's on sale. This applies to every area of life, honestly. It could be clothes, it could be shoes, it could be jewelry, like fashion jewelry, it could definitely be makeup and skincare. If it was not already on your wish list, then don't buy it just because it's on sale. And again, if you uninstall apps on your phone, that would be really helpful. Like if you have a shopping problem with Nykaa, Myntra, etc., and you feel like the sales really captivate you and you feel like you want to buy stuff just because it's on sale, it would really be helpful to uninstall the apps. But this is something, again, I think I've been really good in 2024 is to stay away from sales. Like whenever the Nykaa sales come around, I don't go checking to see which brands are on sale, how much discount they have, how much percentage off there is, what products are on sale. I don't go looking for that. I just go to products which are in my wish list, and I also know what I need at that point of time, or what I'm going to need for like the next 1 month, and that is the stuff that I'll add in my cart. I'll see, okay, I'm saving this much money, I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. If I'm able to get something on buy one get one free, maybe I might add a second product, and that is also something if I feel like I really need, only then. Otherwise I will try to stay away from sales and shopping something just because it's on sale as much as I possibly can. And that has really saved me a lot of money, to be honest, in 2024. Moving on next, our 9th point, and we just have a couple of more minutes before I'll be done with this video, so I hope that you're still here, still watching. Okay, our 9th point is when it comes to like a big purchase that you're making, and for me, I would say if I'm spending more than 2,000 to 3,000 on something, I would classify that as a big purchase. So it could be like a really nice bag, it could be like a really expensive dress, it could be a high-end perfume. Any of these more expensive things that you're buying or shopping for, if you really want to, absolutely go ahead and do that. There is absolutely nothing wrong with it. However, using it as a reward, like for example, if you had a certain milestone which you hit and you want to reward yourself with a more expensive purchase, that could really help in staying away from really big purchases, and also being thoughtful about your big purchases. That is one thing. Second thing, it makes it motivates you kind of to also reach your other goals. So now this could be different. It could be hitting a certain weight goal, maybe making a habit consistent in your life. It could be like a work milestone or a life milestone. It could be literally anything that is a goal for you in your life, and then associating your purchase with that as a reward. So that way you'll push yourself to hit the goal, and then eventually you'll reward yourself with that big purchase. That way I feel like we can also hold off the big purchases, and the big purchases end up being more meaningful, more special. And also when it is a reward, I feel like you think about it more critically, is that do I really want to buy this as a reward for this big achievement that I just made? So when you have achieved that big thing that you wanted to achieve, you want to associate that with like a really important gift. It could even be like gold or stuff if that is something that matters to you, but you would want to associate it with something important, not something like a trendy or a high-end product that you're just buying because it is super hyped or because it's like a new launch or something. So that I feel like makes you more critical about the purchases, and you'll end up buying something, I feel like, that is more worth it as compared to something that was absolutely unnecessary. Then our last product, and this should, I feel like, have been in the list earlier, and I also feel like it's a little bit obvious, but I still wanted to mention it, and I feel like this is one point I could elaborate on for a good 30 minutes, but I'll try to keep it as short as possible. So if a specific type of product is not for you, don't fall into the hype just because other people are talking about it. We need to know ourselves, and we need to understand what works for us, what is something that we would actually use, and only buy it if we know that we're going to get use out of it. An example of this could be tinted lip balms or squeezy tube lip balms. I don't like lip balms, I don't like things which are on a squeezy tube, and I also just don't wear lip balms because I am more of a liquid lipstick girl. So no matter how hyped up a tinted lip balm is, I am not gonna buy it for sure. The same thing applies to body mist as well. I know that body mists have been really popular and trending lately, but ever since I got into college, I was quite put off by body mists because of them not being long lasting, and I still agree with that to this day. I feel like body mists are not as long lasting as perfumes. I would rather save money and buy a perfume instead of 5 different body mists. So even though they are gaining momentum once again and they are becoming quite popular like 10 years later, almost 10 years later, but it's not something that I'm going to buy no matter how trending it is, no matter, even if creating content with them would be helpful to grow my channel, I'm not wasting my money on body mists at all. So if you know a product that doesn't work for you, I would also say the same thing for crop tops actually. I feel like when I was in college, crop tops really started like becoming, you know, more trending, and I feel like they still are with Gen Z, but I just don't like crop tops. Like yesterday I went shopping with a friend. We were just window shopping in Bandra, and I saw like this really cute crop top. The material was so soft and so squishy, and I was like, if this was like a full length top, I would have loved it. And it was not even that expensive. Like shopping in Bandra is not very expensive, especially with bargaining and stuff. But I was like, it's a crop top. I know I'm not going to wear this realistically. So no matter how nice it is, no matter how soft it is, I'm not going to buy a crop top. I mean, I might be Gen Z because of how old I am, but I am a millennial through and through in terms of my habits and in terms of like the kind of clothing I like especially. So I want a full length t-shirt or top which covers my upper body completely till my waist. I am never buying a crop top ever again. So yes, if you know that something is not for you, just don't fall for the hype, don't buy it, and don't end up wasting your money. I've done that way too many times in the past, and I'm not doing it anymore. So yes, with that I complete 10 ways in which you can save money in 2025, and I just want to reiterate the point that I mentioned in the beginning. If you're not going to stick to this the entire year, then there is absolutely no point of even starting to do it. So if you are planning something like this, decide what works for you, and I feel like keep checking in with yourself every month or every 2 months in terms of what you're doing. Always keep all of these points like in the top of your head, in front of you in some way, shape or form, so that you don't forget them and you don't fall off your goals basically in 2025. So yes, with that I'm going to complete this video. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you and I both can save money in 2025 and stay away from unnecessary spending and unnecessary shopping. That is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any tips that you think I didn't mention in this video which I should have in terms of saving money, then please leave them down below. And if you are already following some of these things, then let me know that down as well. That is it for this video. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Until then, bye. Bye bye.